Well, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for attending this press conference this afternoon. I would first like to say that we should all be inspired by the images of today's event, of Bougainvilleans participating peacefully in the 2025 Bougainville General Election. We should also acknowledge all the election officials, security officers, logistics personnel, and all other men and women who have delivered the election successfully in all parts of the autonomous region of Bougainville and in other parts of Papua New Guinea, especially in those 5 provinces. I would also like to acknowledge representatives of civil society organizations, media, domestic and international observers, the faith organizations, and foreign diplomatic missions who contribute to support the transparency of this election. I also thank those candidates and scrutineers who adhere to code of conduct to enable a safe and peaceful election. And I offer special thanks to our ABG stakeholders and electoral counterparts for their efforts as well. Your role is important in delivering our democracy. OBEC stands as a proud constitutional office entrusted with fundamental and profound responsibility to conduct genuine, legitimate, fair and credible elections for the people of Bougainville. This mission extends beyond the casting of votes. It is about delivering a robust foundation for Bougainvillean democracy itself. Today I will provide an update on the 2025 Bougainville General Election, and I will address the progress of polling and counting preparations. Overall, the election was delivered in an orderly, peaceful manner, and I encourage all eligible voters in communities that are yet to poll, like those remaining outside of Bougainville, to show up to vote, including women, youth, and people with disabilities. And I will now provide detailed overview. Polling for the 2025 general election commenced on Thursday, the 4th September in Atolls Constituency. The one-day polling was rescheduled to today, Friday, 5th September, for the rest of Bougainville, except for a few constituencies outside of Bougainville, which I will speak to in a moment. I can confirm that polling opened in 33 constituencies as scheduled. Some constituencies experienced late start due to logistical challenges, but by 10 o'clock Bougainville Standard Time, polling venues in all 38 constituencies had opened and were successfully conducting polling. OBEC has not received any reports of any violent incidents. Polling was conducted peacefully. Voters who were still in the queue at 4 p.m. were allowed to cast their ballots as per the law. A significant number of voters made use of the voting facilities for voters in Bougainville, but not in their constituencies. At closing time, queues were still lengthy, and we assured them that they will all be able to vote. The returning officers are mobilizing additional resources as we speak, and we thank these voters for their patience and dedication. Turnout figures will be available after counting as comments. Due to the delays in the delivery and distribution of electoral materials, we made responsible decisions in accordance with the law to change the polling schedule for Bougainvilleans voting in other provinces of Papua New Guinea. And that is in NCD, Morobe, Medang, and East New Guinea. For voters for the North and South constituencies, polling took place today on Friday, 5th September from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Bougainville Standard Time. For voters for the Central Bougainville constituencies, polling has been rescheduled to Monday, 8th of September. For Eastern Highlands, polling for constituencies for North, Central and South is deferred to Monday, 8th of September. All other polling arrangements remain unchanged. We have made all necessary arrangements within our mandate to ensure every eligible Bougainvilleans, whether in Bougainville or elsewhere in Papua New Guinea, can cast their votes. We recognize the inconvenience caused by some of these delays and thank voters for their patience and understanding. Our teams, together with partners, are working tirelessly to ensure polling runs smoothly and securely for those who are yet to poll. I can advise that polling will continue as scheduled in the adjusted locations announced. OBEC will provide updates regularly through the media, social media platforms, and official notices to keep all stakeholders informed. I will now provide an overall view of polling operations. There are 544 polling teams in total, 536 regular polling teams across Bougainville, 5 teams serving Bougainvilleans outside Bougainville, or BODs in short, 3 teams for special voting venues inside Bougainville, or BIVs, especially for people outside of their constituencies. There were 6 members of a polling team, and they were led by a presiding officer. We have recruited and trained 3,000 plus people who work at polling places across Bougainville, and we thank them for their efforts. Counting will start on the 9th of September. We aim to complete count and return the results by 22nd of September. Counting will take place at the regional count centers in Harawa, Buin, and Buka. There will be an additional count center for the presidential seat in Buka. And the Bougainville system of LPV, counting continues through preference distribution until a candidate secures an absolute majority, which is the 50% plus 1. Observers will have full access to the counting centers in line with OBEC protocols. More updates on the conduct of counting will be provided in the coming days. I again thank the Bougainville Police Service for their important contributions to the security of the election and the people of Bougainville. I remind all political parties, candidates, and their supporters to abide and respect the electoral laws and regulations and contribute to a safe counting environment in the coming period. Impunity for electoral crimes will not be tolerated. Those who commit offences should be held accountable for their actions in accordance with the law. OBEC stands ready to do its part and work with the police and other law enforcement agencies. In closing, the 2025 Bougainville General Election is a milestone for Bougainville's democracy and is being delivered to elect Bougainville's 5th Parliament. We should feel proud of this electoral milestone, and I thank all voters, political parties, candidates, and the supporters for their active and peaceful participation, and call upon all to adhere to the laws and regulations that govern our elections to enable a safe, peaceful election as we enter the counting period. Everyone is encouraged to seek information from official and verified sources. OBEC is committed to providing accurate information on its website and Facebook page. OBEC will continue to engage regularly with stakeholders, including the media, to communicate accurate information about the elections and progress of counting results. Thank you. I will now address your questions.
Commissioner, you are aware that your voters still stop at vote or queues now. OBEC and designated the one in polling. What will happen if we still have voters?
Thank you. That's a good question. We get reports that voters are still in the queue, the polling sites. I drove up and passed the Bel Isi Park, the BIV Center. There's still a lot of people there. The returning officer, based on the procedure that we have, has marked off the area and contain all voters in the marked off area and allowed to vote. even if we go beyond the 4 p.m., 5 p.m. As long as they are within the marked-off area, they'll be allowed to vote. That's consistent with other polling sites as well. So it's based on the procedure.
Commissioner, on that note as well, in terms of the information with our eligible voters out there who are not familiar with the process, what's the process in terms of extending the polling time?
To extend the polling, to extend to the next day, the returning officer must recommend to the commissioner based on a series of assessment. And the assessment should include if there's an emergency, we can extend. Or if we have more than thousands of people still in the queue. When I drove up, the Bel Isi park, was around 300 people still in the queue. To us, we can manage it, we can process them all by this evening, and therefore that doesn't warrant an extension to the next day. Questions?
Are you concerned this might affect turnout? Not catering for those who not be able to cast?
As much as possible, OBEC would like to be consistent in its procedures. Those procedures are based on the laws, and therefore the procedure requires that if there's still a long queue of people and it's 4 o'clock, the presiding officer will instruct one of his or her election official to stand at the end of the queue. And that indicate that that's the end of the line, and all voters will be allowed to vote. So if we are able to do that, we anticipate a good voter turnout, even though it's a one-day polling. As we received reports this morning, people turn up in numbers, therefore we have long queues. And therefore, the procedure required us to have an election official at the end of the queue and process all of them.
Anything on preparations for counting?
At the moment, we will provide further information on counting. Otherwise, the team are focusing on polling, but at the same time, they're looking towards preparation for the count.
How soon do you get the ballot boxes for the president back to Bougainville counting for president taking place?
We would like to transport presidential ballot boxes as soon as possible, but we discourage moving those ballot boxes in the night. If they can store them in a secure place at the district police station or district office, there's police presence there, they can transport those ballot boxes in daylight. So they can do that Saturday, Sunday, bring them up. There is an additional process that must be done straight after polling, and that is political series and reconciliation. So they'll do that straight after polling. The returning officer plus their polling teams will do the reconciliation before they can bring all the ballot boxes up to the counting centers. We'll continue to provide updates. There's new developments, we'll continue to provide updates. As I've mentioned, through our social media platform, our website, through the media context that we have, networks.